Well, hello there YouTube. I just wanted to make a very short video to ask a question that's been in my mind for quite some time, and that is simply this. Why do we keep changing the names of things that already exist? I'll give you an example. Emojis. We all know what an emoji is. It's a thing you have on most modern day phones which turn your colons and brackets into like a smiley face, right? So when you send someone a text message saying, oh, I'll be round to see you later, colon bracket, it changes into I'll be round to see you later, big like yellow smiley face, right? And we call them emojis. Now just a couple of years ago, actually a few more years ago, when they were first put onto mobile phones and things like that, they were called Emoticons. And they were called Emoticons because they were emotion icons. Emoticons, you see? Emotion icons, emoji icons, right? Simple, right? And now, for some reason, we call them emojis. Yeah. And then we got jiggling your arse, which is the thing that black women used to do, where they sort of bend slightly and they jiggle their arse up and down and up and down and up and down. And that used to have a name for it. I can't remember what the name is. But now we call it twerking. Now for me, being in England, twerking is something that people say up north to indicate that they're at work. Oh, I'm just working. Yeah, that's not very funny, I know. You might think it's funny if you're English, but then again you might not. But it's like we constantly change the name of something that's already got a perfectly viable name. And I don't understand why. Why do we need to start calling emoticons emojis? And why do we need to call the arse shaking thing, whatever it was called, now twerking? Why do we need to change the name of it? I mean, where is this going to end? Really? I mean, for years we had fans of Star Trek, and they were called Trekkies, right? And people believed that Trekkies were incredibly nerdy. So there was an offshoot from Trekkies called Trekkers, which are people who love to watch the series Star Trek, just like the Trekkies, but they don't do some of the other stuff that the Trekkies do, which is like getting the costumes and, doing endless quotes of Mr. Spock and stuff like that, Although some of them really, on both sides, have no idea that the term live long and prosper is actually a response to the term peace and long life. Just like I think it's Muslim culture, when they say Assalamu alaikum and you respond alaikum assalam, right? So they say peace be upon you, and you say and also on you peace. I think that's what it translates as. So peace and long life is like saying assalamu alaikum, and then live long and prosper is basically like saying alaikum assalam. I mean, because like Star Trek used to include all sorts of cultures and things, didn't they? But actually, what people don't realise is that the difference between Trekkies and Trekkers is now something completely different. Now, a Trekkie is people who love Star Trek, as in William Shatner and Mr. Spock. I just can't do it, Captain, and right? And Trekkers are people who love the Next Generation, with Captain Picard and Councillor Troy and make it so. Engage. Tea Earl Grey hot. So that's sort of changed as well. So we've gone from two people who like the same series, one being just a bit more nerdy than the other, to it being the same terms, Trekkies and Trekkers, but now they like two different series. Which means that there must be more for Voyager, Deep Space Nine, and Enterprise. I don't like Enterprise, it's crap. So I would give, if they haven't already been named, I'd give the Deep Space Nine and Voyager ones equally interesting names, like Trekkies and Trekkers, you know, like Treksters and Trekkinators or something like that. Trekkinator. I've been sent back in time to stop you going into space. They're from Cochrane. Yes. Yeah. Look out, he's got a phaser. So I don't know why we changed the name of things from one thing to another. I mean, over the years, everyone across all the generations, it really started with my generation, I suppose, or my generation was the lowest generation at the time to understand it. An emoticon was an emoticon. Basically, it was a thing that was a feature on your phone and possibly other devices, which turned your punctuation marks and symbols into various different smiley facey things. You had the smiley one, the sad one, the evil looking one, the one with a whacking grin on its face. You know, some phones had the one that was actually like the head spins round, you know, big smile on its face, you know, which was meant to be like rolling on the floor laughing or something like that, you know. And there's all that. You could have a number 8 with a closed bracket, and that was a big smiley face wearing sunglasses and stuff like that, you know. And we understood that these were emoticons, right? This is an emoticon, that's an emoticon. And you'd be able to go on the internet and type in what emoticons can I use on my phone, right? And it will give you a whacking great page of all the different button combinations that you can have for various different emoticons. Like there's one with like devil horns, and you know, one with an angel's fucking halo over it. Even though angels don't have halos, that's only in fucking Christianity, you fucking morons. There's an interesting story about where that halo came from. Actually, the idea that angels have halos, it was taken from Jesus. You know, when they put the crown of thorns on Jesus' head, you know, it's a circle, you know. So they somehow came up with the idea that within Christianity, all angels then must have a big fucking circle over their head. Although that started off as being on their head, like a weird tiara-looking thing, like the crown of thorns, but made out of gold or silver or something. Yeah. And then suddenly, after many years, it just suddenly went up there. And now all angels are, if you find a picture of a Christian angel, actually I should clarify that, if you find a picture of an angel nowadays, because Christianity has taken over everything, you will find that if it's depicted as being a picture of an angel, it will have a halo over the top of his head, possibly bright and shiny. And so we had all these emoticons, and we all understood they were called emoticons. You know, I understood they were called emoticons. My parents discovered they were called emoticons. My grandparents knew they were called emoticons. Children that had been born and were much younger than me, you know, once they grew up to a certain age, they understood that these were called emoticons. They are emoticons, that's what they are. They are emotion icons you can use on your phones and other devices to, I don't know, improve your text messages, I suppose, or whatever. Yeah. They are emoticons. Right. Yes. So then we fast forward about 5-6 years, and now suddenly we're calling them emojis. I don't know why. So now everyone who understands that these things are called emoticons, right, are going, oh yes, I'm just going to put an emoticon into my message there, colon, close bracket, that's a smiley face, you know, that's okay. Less than sign 3, you know, that's a love heart, you know, I'm happy and I love you, you know, send that to your girlfriend. You know, I love you, can't wait to see you again, smiley face, love heart, done. Bing, off it goes. It gets sent through space to your girlfriend's phone, and she gets a text message with 2 emoticons on it. So we all still understand that they're called emoticons. But some people are born, and they're now bombarded with the idea that they are called emojis. So they go around saying the word emoji a lot, as I'm just going to stick an emoji on the end of it there. You know, so of course, then you turn to them and you go, we've got to stick a what on the end of it? And we'll stick an emoji on the end of it. And you go, what's an emoji? And they tell you what it is, and you go, no, that's an emoticon. And they look at you as though you're like completely out of touch with modern technology. Like when your great-great-grandmother says to you, what's the television? You know, oh, I'm just going to listen to the wireless. You mean the radio, Nan? You mean the radio? You know, put the wireless on. Back in the day when all watches were done by winding them up, and you go, well, how does your watch work? Oh, mine works on a battery-powered watches? Very ridiculous. You know, you're out of touch with technology now, right? Yeah, but that's completely different to the way the emoticon emoji argument works, and that is, it's not the changing of technology. I mean, they're still the same. Some of them are a little more animated, but there were some animated ones back then, you know. And like different phones had different ones. So if I sent one from one of my phones, or one of my older phones, that was just like a static yellow dot with big eyes and a big smile on its face, it might go to your phone, or even your phone, and arrive as like a big animated thing with like possibly the same yellow dot, and it just goes like that all the way. You know, there's various different ones, right? There's one where when you send the cool one, you know, with the sunglasses on, right, you send it from your phone, it's just a yellow dot smiley face, you know, with a pair of sunglasses on, yeah. And when it gets to the other person's phone, like your phone, or 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 your phone, hello, you're pretty. It might come through and it might just be like a smiley face that then puts on sunglasses. Right? Yeah, there's various different things they can do with them. Like, I mean, the argument between emojis and emoticons isn't the same as the argument with technology, because it's the exact same technology. We've just suddenly decided we want to call it something else. That's like suddenly decided that we're going to call a television a different device. When it's still the same device, it's still a television. You still watch it, you still do other things with it, you know, all sorts of things. I mean, the television has changed dramatically over the last, I don't know, 10 years, you know. We got flat screen plasma TVs, and we got LCD screens, and now we've got fucking curved TVs and smart TVs and all that sort of shit. We don't really need them. But that's a whole other argument, right? But if we suddenly started calling the television a completely different device, then the next generation of kids as they are born are going to grow up with this word in their head as what a television is actually called. So say we rename it the thingamajigger. We're never going to call it the thingamajigger. But just for, hypothetical situation, we suddenly rename the television the thingamajigger. Right? So the next generation of children, or the current generation of children, are going to grow up thinking that wonderful device in the corner of the room that allows you to watch programs and play your Xbox on it and stuff like that is called the thingamajigger. Yeah, and they'll go round to their friends' houses or whatever. Go to someone else's house and go, can we watch the thingamajigger? Can we put the thingamajigger on? And they'll turn to them and go, the what? The thingamajigger. Big thing there with a remote. And they'll go, you mean the television? And they'll look at them as if to say, the what? How fucking old are you? It's not a matter of age, it's not a matter of technology, it's a matter of just renaming something stupidly for no reason. Why? I mean, for fans of mobile phones, I know this is not a good example of a mobile phone nowadays, but this is a mobile phone, ladies and gentlemen, right? This is like one of the truest definitions of the term mobile phone, right? This is a mobile phone, right? And, just for another example, this is also a mobile phone. Not much difference between the two, I agree. Different makes, different models, that sort of thing. This is my favourite mobile phone of all time. Well, it was my favourite mobile phone of all time until I bought a slightly newer version of this 2 or 3 models later, and it became my favourite model of all time. But I've owned about fucking 8 of this particular model in various colours. I say various colours, I've just had silver or black. Some of the black ones have got gold on the back, but gold colour, not actual gold, just rip the back off and sell it. Some of them have like this red on the back, some have black on the back. The silver ones have silver on the back, or the goldy colour and that sort of thing. And a mobile phone has always been a mobile phone. That's all it is. It's a phone that's just mobile. It's a mobile phone, right? Whether you want to call it a mofo makes no sense. Makes no difference really. But it's a mobile phone, right? The mobile phone is a mobile phone. No. Today's mobile phones, these whacking great big fucking touchscreeny things that everyone uses, they are not mobile phones for a start. Although that's not the point I was going to make here. They are essentially just an updated version of an older device called a PDA. Now a PDA, I can't remember what it stands for, it's personal something or other. Guess there'll be people out there that know what PDA are. PDA is. And the PDA was an all-in-one sort of device that used to do all sorts of things that a mobile phone could do. Calculator, calendar, all that sort of stuff. But I think you could even play games on it. But I don't think it could actually make phone calls or send text messages. But I think some of them had an internet connection, so you could send emails if you wanted to. They're basically for these new smartphones, they've took the PDA and just added in the ability to make phone calls and send text messages, and then they decided to make it all touchscreen so that you didn't have buttons essentially on the front, because the PDA as a device used to look quite similar to that, but much bigger, of course. Whereas my phone is, about the size of my hand, the PDA was about twice as wide and about 1.5 times as tall. Big screen, and it had a whole keypad of buttons like a BlackBerry on the front. A BlackBerry was essentially like a PDA, so they'd already, we mentioned BlackBerry there, that they'd already turned the PDA into a phone with the creation of the BlackBerry. But with its QWERTY keyboard on the front. and you needed really thin thumbs to be able to press the buttons. See people look like this. Their little fingers trying to press the button. Oh no, I accidentally put a B in. Oh no, I just sent a message with an accidental B in it. I mean, essentially a smartphone is just an updated PDA. Right? Now, back when mobile phones were mobile phones, right, they had things you could put on them, right, that were called programs. Just like the things you could put on your laptop or your computer, you know, that sort of thing. You know, like a YouTube, Facebook. I mean, the internet was one for a start. It was a pretty standard one. Like games and stuff like that. They were called programs, and they were programs you could download specifically for your phone. You couldn't use them on your computer or anything like that, unless you had some way of faking, like emulating a phone onto your computer, which I think we can actually do. I'm not sure. So you had these programs that would download specifically for your phone. And then, around about the time they came out with the first smartphones, these programs suddenly became apps. And again, it's exactly the same thing, we've just changed the name of it. So when people will come up to me and go, "Oh, what apps have you got on your phone?" And I go, "Well, I haven't got any apps on my phone. I've got programs on mine." And they'll look at me as though I'm like either a complete nutter or that I'm a bit out of touch with technology. And it's not that I'm out of touch with technology or that I'm a complete nutter, because some parts are missing. It's just that they've basically just used a new name for the exact same thing. And I've tried to explain this to those people. You know, when they say, "What apps have you got on your phone?" and I say, "Well, I haven't. I've got programs on mine." And they look at me. Oh. And then I explain it to them. It's basically just the exact same thing, but for some reason we decided to call it something else. Right? And then I explain the emoticons and the emojis and that sort of thing, and other examples. You know. And I mean, a lot of them seem to get what I'm saying and seem to sort of agree. You know, this does seem a bit silly to take something that we already have and then just call it by a different name. I mean, imagine if we did this with everything. We'd have a whole next generation thinking that sex was called something else, and that school was called something else, and that the mouse on your laptop is called something else. Deodorant is called something else. Phone chargers are called something else. Pictures are called something else. Right? But I can understand that when a new piece of technology comes out that is similar to what is already out there and needing to give that a new name. Like if I brought out a device that was quite similar to a mobile phone but also did other things, I probably wouldn't call it a mobile phone. I'd probably call it something else, you know. I mean, you could have a watch on your hand, whether it be a digital watch or a face watch, or you can buy one of those things that they like to call chronometers, which has all the same things in it as a watch, but also has other things on it. So it's not a watch now, because it's more than a watch. It has more things on it than a watch usually has. So it is a chronometer. Right? I can understand that, because that is a perfectly valid thing to do, because you can't call it what it resembles, because it also has more features on it than the original thing has. So to call it a watch would be stupid, because it's not a watch, is it? Basically. I mean, when they came out with those giant, you could plug them into your computer and use it instead of a mouse. It's like a big ball, and you roll your hand around on the top of it to move the cursor around the screen. And I think there's buttons on the side or something that work like your mouse buttons, right? They obviously can call that, even though it does the same function, they can't call that a mouse, could they? Because this is a mouse, isn't it? Right? There's a device that you stick on your desk, and you scroll it around on the thing, and there's the buttons, and there's a mouse wheel if you're one of those people that likes a mouse wheel. So when they made this big ball-shaped thing, I think they called it a scroll ball or something like that, because obviously it's not a mouse, is it? Just like the chronometer is not a watch. So when something comes out that's slightly similar to something that's already out, you can't call it the same thing. Calling it a different thing is perfectly understandable. But when you've just took something that's already out there, right, and you're just using it again, basically, like with emoticons, why feel the need to suddenly change the name of them? But they are the same thing. It would be perfectly valid to call them emojis instead of emoticons if they were all the same. And by that I mean completely different. Because the emoticons that we know and love are usually static images, or they might have a small amount of animation in them. Like the one I remember from a few years ago, where it's like just a regular face, and then it sticks its tongue out like that. But that was still called an emoticon. Right? But some of these new ones that they're calling emojis, especially on some of these smartphones, are very big animated things. They really do lots of elaborate things in them. I can understand calling those emojis because they are completely different to the emoticons that we all know and love. And I use the term love very loosely there. Although what I really should have said was they're very different to the emoticons that we know and open bracket number 3. Not open bracket, open less than sign. Yeah, that was it. Less than sign number 3. Right? So I can understand them being called emojis because they are not the same. But we're also now starting to call the regular normal looking ones that are quite essentially emoticons emojis as well. We're using emoji as a term to encompass the whole thing of little animated pictures or whatever on your mobile phones. I think I probably have emoticons or something on my phone. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I have some here. I have some that call themselves. Actually, they're called animations, and I've got 3 sets of them apparently. One was called emotions, which are like essentially the emoticons, and they sort of look like a person doing specific things. I've got one here called I am ironic. I can't show you them because my camera and my screen don't get on well. I've got preset animations, which are the ones that just look like a birthday cake, a 4-leaf clover, a love heart that has a crack that goes through it, 2 musical notes that dance up and down, and all that sort of stuff. And then I also have, apparently, ones that I can download or create myself, which are called my animations. But if I also just put in like colon close bracket, which is very difficult to do on this phone, it comes up colon close bracket on my phone, but when I send it, it will look like a smiley face. So I have various different ones on my phone, and they're all emoticons. None of them are emojis. Okay. But I think that they just decided to start calling them emojis just for the fact that they're only available on these newer phones. As like an advertising point. get your new iPhone 5. It has all these amazing things and emojis. Yeah. And people lean forward to the screen and go, what the fuck's an emoji? It could just be me, ladies and gentlemen, but I just don't get renaming something that we already know has a name. And we already understand that name. I mean, this is slightly different, but but this is the way. The sort of people that will accept the term emoji over the term emoticons are also the sort of people who sort of had this way of thinking. Okay, right? I have an Xbox. Right? I've got my hand on it, but you can't see it. I have an Xbox. It is the first Xbox, before the 360, right? And when I'd say to someone, I have an Xbox, I mean, of course, I have an Xbox. That is what it was called when it was brought out, Xbox. Right? Then they brought out Xbox 360. Then they brought out Xbox One. Right? So when I say I have an Xbox, most of the rational, sane people out there will know that I mean I have the first Xbox that Microsoft released, and it's not a 360 or a One or anything like that. But today, right, with there being like 3 types of fucking Xbox now, even though they're all different consoles, right? I can walk up to someone and say I have an Xbox, and they will say, "Oh, which one?" I said, "What do you mean, which one?" I mean, back when it was just the Xbox before the 360, the answer to that question, which one, would be either the black one or the white one, basically. So you get so used to going, oh, the black one, or the white one, or whatever other colours they came out in. I'm not sure, right? I'm not sure if they came out in other colours. I know the GameCube, Nintendo GameCube, came out in like black, purple, a couple of other colours and that sort of thing. I think PlayStation 2s were always black. PlayStation 1s were grey, I think. But yeah, so back when Xbox was just Xbox, right? You could go up to someone to go, I've got an Xbox, and they'll go, oh yeah, you've got an Xbox. I've got a PlayStation. You go up to someone today and say, I've got an Xbox, and they'll want you to specify whether it is an Xbox 360, or an Xbox One. Now, if I meant I've got an Xbox 360, I would say I've got an Xbox 360. If I meant I've got an Xbox One, I would say I've got an Xbox One. If someone asks you the question, what games consoles do you own? You're not going to go, oh, well, I've got an Xbox, a PlayStation, and a Nintendo, are you? Because that's going to beg a lot of questions. Which Nintendo? Which PlayStation? No, you're going to say I've got say you've got these 3 specific ones. You're going to say I've got an Xbox 360, a PlayStation 4, and a Nintendo Wii. Right? You're going to say the actual name of the device, aren't you? You might not even say the word Nintendo when you say Wii. Right? And you might say PS4 instead of PlayStation 4. So you say I've got, well, you might even say I've got a 360 instead of an Xbox 360. So you'd say I've got an Xbox 360, a PS4, and a Wii. Right? Everyone knows what you're talking about. Right? Several years ago, everyone knew what you were talking about when you said, I've got an Xbox. They knew that you mean you've got an Xbox. That big device that you plug 4 controllers into, with the weird little thing you can plug into it to allow you to watch DVDs. Of which I have 2, and 2 remotes, and neither the fuckers work. Which is really annoying. But if I walk up to someone today and tell them I've got an Xbox, a PS2 and a GameCube, which I do have all 3 of those devices, they're all set up here right next to me. I've got my GameCube and my PlayStation 2 on the bottom shelf, and my Xbox is on the shelf above it, Above that is my video recorder, yeah, my VCR, and my DVD player, and then the telly sits on the top. I've got a pretty good home entertainment system going on here. All I need to do is put my hi-fi on it somewhere and it'll be fine. And so it was like 5-6 years ago, I could walk up to someone and they could say, "Oh yeah, what consoles have you got?" And I could say, "I've got an Xbox, a PlayStation 2 and a GameCube," and they would accept that as being, "I've got an Xbox, a PlayStation 2 and a GameCube." Now, 5-6 years later, if someone says to me, "What games consoles you've got?" and I say I've got an Xbox, a PlayStation 2 and a GameCube, apart from laughing at the fact I've still got a GameCube, or possibly even laughing at the fact I've still got a PlayStation 2, they will ask me, "Which Xbox?" Well, surely, by just saying the term Xbox, I mean I have the Xbox, not the 360, not the One. So we take Microsoft's Xbox as the standard here. As they brought out each new console, they gave it a new name, just like Nintendo do. You know, we had the Nintendo, we had the Super Nintendo, we had the Nintendo 64, we had the GameCube, we got the Wii, you know, we got the Wii U, we've got the Wii U, me, them and us, and we got that fucking new one that's really shit. So as they created a new device, they gave it a new name. Now if they just decided to re-release the first Xbox, right there, re-release it again now, but with the slightly updated technology so that you can play Blu-rays on them and whatever other advances the Xbox One has over the original Xbox, with a few more ones, and just released it as Xbox instead of 360 or One or whatever, just called it Xbox again, then it would be a different device with the same name, and that would confuse people. So then when people say to me, "Which games console have you got?" and I say I've got an Xbox, then they can say, "Oh, which Xbox?" But they wouldn't, of course, because people assume when you've got a gaming console that you have the latest games console. So when someone asks me what I've got and I say I've got an Xbox, before I even mention my PlayStation or my GameCube, right, they'll go, "Oh, you got Xbox One?" "Yeah, so I got it." So no, I ain't got Xbox One. "Oh, you got 360 in there?" "Yeah, no, I've just got Xbox." And some of them look at you as if to say, "What the fuck is an Xbox?" Because most of the people who ask me were born around about the time, you know, probably when Xbox was around, but as they've grown up, the first console they've ever got was the 360. So to them, the 360 is the Xbox. And in a few more years, kids are going to grow up and their first console is going to be the One. So they're going to think the Xbox One is the first Xbox, you know. And it's the same with television and stuff like that. You know, when people are growing up with LCD screens, right, they're going to think televisions were always originally LCD screens. So if they ever see one of the big old blocky ones with the big back that sits out of it, they'll go, "What the fuck is this?" And it's the same with computer monitors. I mean, computer monitors used to have a big back too, and now they're like LCD flat screen. I've got one there. That's my computer's over there, by the way. Just off the screen there, all the way up the other side of the room. So I've got television this side, and all my games consoles, my computer's over there, and my hi-fi system is next to it on the floor because I've got nothing to stand it on. And I've got my sofa is actually right next to me, but I spend most of my time sat here on the floor, either on my laptop or on my various console and thing, watching the DVD, whatever. And I can understand giving a new device a new name, because to give a new device the same name as the old device would confuse everybody, wouldn't it? You know, because then when you get if you develop a problem with your if you got an Xbox One, but it was just called an Xbox instead of an Xbox One, and I've got an Xbox which is just called an Xbox, then if I develop the fault with my Xbox, and I typed into the internet about the fault my Xbox, what should I do? And I type in what the problem is, right? It might only give me results relating to the Xbox One, which just happens to just be called the Xbox. So it would confuse people, basically. Right? Yeah. Following my meaning so far. Yeah. So giving a new name to a new device, I can agree with. I mean, it's logical, you know. But giving a new name to something that we already know the name of, which is the point of this video, is absolutely ludicrous and pointless and stupid. Why do we feel the need to do it? Why do we need to start calling programs apps? Why do emoticons now need to be called emoji? Why does jiggling your arse now need to be called twerking instead of what the fuck it was known as before that I really can't fucking remember? Why do we rename things like this? I don't see the point in it. I really don't see the point in it. I mean, and I said, you know, earlier in the video, where will it end? Where will it end? Are we going to eventually rename everything in the world to something else? Just to confuse everyone. I mean, that's going to fuck the dictionary over, isn't it? I mean, there's another glaring example of two different things. Right? We've got the dictionary and we've got the thesaurus. Right? I mean, they are not the same thing being given two different names, like emoticons and emojis. They are two different things, which obviously then need two different names, like the watch and the chronometer. Because a dictionary is not a thesaurus, and a thesaurus is not a dictionary. But you can go out and buy a book that is a dictionary and thesaurus. Because I've had one many years ago, and essentially the front of the book is the dictionary, and after like a middle divider, the back of the book is a thesaurus, basically. So it's literally a dictionary and a thesaurus. It's like someone's just took a dictionary and a thesaurus and just like glued the two books together. They call it a dictionary and thesaurus. Of course, then you have an encyclopedia. No. But I mean, it's like photos and pictures. Now those up there, right, are photos. Well, no. They're pictures, right? Because they are an image that has been printed off onto something and then sent to me with a signature on it. You can't see the signatures from here, but they have all been signed. Right. There's one off the edge of your screen there you can't see. There she is. Yeah, they've all been printed off onto those pieces of card or whatever the hell they are, and then, you know, they've signed them and sent them to me. So they are pictures. Right. A photo is something you would take with a camera that has a film in it, or maybe even one of those, you know, the old Kodak camera where it comes out of front and you shake it, you know, shake it like a Polaroid picture. Right. Although shaking it does not do anything to help it develop at all, right? That's just a myth to make you look like a twat shaking this fucking thing to see if the picture comes out quicker. It really doesn't. Because you can have two people take the same picture at the same time. One puts it down on the desk and leaves it there, the other one's shaking it like a fucking moron, and they both develop at around about the same time. There's not even like a second of difference, basically. So that, you know, expunges that myth that you have to shake a Polaroid picture to make it develop quicker. But I mean, a photo is a picture taken with a camera that either ejects the taking picture from itself like a Polaroid camera, or it prints it onto a film that you then take to the shop, and they give you the finished photos along with the negatives boom, cost you a few quid. Right? So in my bedroom, I've got 3 albums of photos. Right? Though they are photos, right? Any picture you take with a digital camera, like including this one, if I took a picture with this, it becomes a picture, not a photo. We already know what a photo is, right? Could have just told you, right? So if I press the take picture button on this, they even call it the take picture button, right? If I press the take picture button on this, it will take a still image of whatever's on the screen displayed in front of the camera at the time. So if I took it now, it'd be a picture of me with a really weird look on my face. But, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of people out there, and even a lot of companies out there, that call a digitally taken picture a photo. Ladies and gentlemen, yes. It's getting worse, isn't it? In fact, the thing I'm using to do this recording, I can switch between like picture mode and video mode by clicking different buttons at the top of the screen, at the top of the window, right? And I'm using Dell Webcam Central, which is the webcam software built into my Dell laptop. I have a Dell laptop, ladies and gentlemen. The only good Adele in the world. Because you Adele is really annoying. But the button to take pictures, like to switch it over into picture taking mode instead of video taking mode, on my Dell Webcam Central software is called Snap Photos. But it doesn't take a photo, does it? It takes a picture, because we all know, as I told you, what a photo is. Right? So basically, the people who work for Dell, who put together this software, seem to think that a device that takes a picture, a digital picture at that, actually takes a photo, which it doesn't. Now, is that them accidentally calling the same thing by a different name, like emoticons and emojis, emoticons and emojis, or is there just someone who works with Dell who was working on this, right, who is just a bit thick? But I'll tell you the even weirdest part, and I'll tell you this because he must be a bit thick in this, or she, right? Not to be sexist or anything. But when I put it into picture taking mode, into snap photos, when I move my mouse cursor down to the button to click on, to actually take the picture, if I hover the mouse over the cursor over it, you get a little tip that pops up that tells you what this button does, right? I think it says, and I'm not sure, I might have to check, and if I'm wrong I'll put a little bit about it in the description. I think it says, take picture! Oh God! I mean, that means she must really have been stupid, or she must really have been stupid, because if the fucking tooltip thing that tells you what the button does says take picture, then surely that person was intelligent enough to realise that this button takes a picture. So therefore it should not be in a mode that's called snap photos. I mean, across most computers and things like that, and even mobile phones, you switch it from picture taking to video recording, right? I think even mine does. No, my phone's just as much of a cock. My phone has record video and take a photo. It's not a photo. really not. But to get out of the general stupidity that is the difference between pictures and photos, because they are different things essentially. A picture and a photo are two different things. Although technically a photo is like a subgenre of pictures, because when you take a photo, you still are taking a picture. But when you take a picture, you're not always taking a photo. See? That's like, what's the difference between a Hoover and a vacuum cleaner? Every Hoover's a vacuum cleaner, but not every vacuum cleaner is a Hoover. And I know that statement's going to blow some minds out there, but it's easily explained. Basically, Hoover are a company that make and sell vacuum cleaners. Vacuum cleaner is the actual device's name. Right. That's like saying, what's the difference between a Samsung and a mobile phone? You know, every Samsung is a mobile phone, but not every mobile phone is a Samsung. Although that's not technically correct, because you can get like Samsung TV screens and stuff like that. No. But basically, one is a device itself, and one is a company that sells it. Because you can also get like G-Tech vacuum cleaners, you can get Shark vacuum cleaners, you can get various other different companies that make and sell vacuum cleaners. So every Hoover is a vacuum cleaner, because every Hoover is a vacuum cleaner made by the company Hoover. But not every vacuum cleaner is a Hoover, because there are several vacuum cleaners out there made by other countries, or other companies, other countries, other companies. So it's easily explained. So, you know, every photo is a picture, but not every picture is a photo. You know, because if I take a picture with a non-digital camera, I have taken a photo. But if I take a picture with a digital camera, I have taken a picture. But the photo I have taken with the non-digital camera is still technically a picture. But the picture I've taken with the digital camera is not technically a photo. And I can see a lot, I can't see, but I'm sure a lot of you are out there with very confused looks on your faces. I mean, that doesn't work with every piece of technology. You can't say every chronometer is a watch, but not every watch is a chronometer. Because a watch is not a chronometer, and a chronometer is not a watch. And ladies and gentlemen, that brings me nicely on to one piece of technology that is nothing to do with what I've been talking about today, but I just want to point it out as giving something, it's sort of related, but it's giving something a name that is nothing to do with what it actually is. And ladies and gentlemen, for that point, I give you quite simply the smartwatch. Now by that I don't mean a watch that looks quite good. I mean the smartwatch, the digital thing that you wear on your wrist that is like linked to your mobile phone, you know, so that you can answer calls using the watch and that sort of thing. Right? It is not a watch for a start, because it does not walk. You do not walk around all day with the time displayed on it. I mean, some of them might have an option to put the time on it, but it's still not a watch, is it? Because a watch is just a watch. A watch is just a device that displays the time that you wear on your wrist, hence the term a wristwatch. The smartwatch is basically like, it's like an updated version of the Bluetooth headset, isn't it? Essentially. But with a clock displayed on it as well, and you can wear it on your wrist instead of wearing it on your ear. I've got a Bluetooth headset somewhere, never use it. And so the smartwatch, ladies and gentlemen, is not a watch. So why is it called a smartwatch? And on that point, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, and any aliens that might be picking up the transmission, live long and prosper, peace and long life, whatever. On that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave you with a very small joke that I find funny, and a lot of my friends have found it funny. You might not. Why does Mr. Spock sit quietly in the corner drinking UHT milk. And the answer to that, of course, some of you might have already worked this one out, is because most Vulcans, like Mr. Spock, enjoy peace and long life. Ha ha! Yes. Yeah, yeah. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you all soon.